welcome to Spiritism at Noon, promoted by the Spiritist Group of New York. And we are currently studying some books, but one of them is A Full Life by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis, written through the mediumship of Divaldo Franco. Every time that we study this book, we go through one chapter, and this chapter brings the chapters bring different subjects, and we will be commenting on them. So if you're joining for the first time, you will be able to follow our study today. So let me share with you the screen, because we will read from the book. Maybe Philip, would you like to read for us today?
Okay. A full life. Nowadays, the light of reason abounds while the light of love is scarce. Continual horizontal progress is easy, but the vertical ascent toward the infinite is more complex, demanding reflection and sacrifice. That is why it is often said that in this world, the higher they climb, the harder they fall. To harmonize knowledge with behavior should be the inner effort of every individual. We must develop our latent emotional capacity to acquire the wisdom to proceed safely. We will face difficulties of all sizes, moments of tiredness and disinterest when we fail, but the inherent good existing in the human spirit, reflecting its divine inheritance, will manage to overcome all those impediments during a march that will be restarted innumerable times. Moreover, we are never deprived of the love and assistance of our Father, propelling us to overcome the inner shadows that are the disastrous legacy of the initial stages of the evolutionary process. So never be disheartened by the challenges in the form of difficulties that lead you to relevant and meaningful achievements. The more discernment individuals acquire, the more problems they notice. Their capacity becomes more lucid and challenging, valuing only what is important, avoiding discouragement or impediments. Responsible people understand that the challenges they run into are part of the process to develop perception and reality. The bottom of my screen is obscured, so I can't see the.
Okay, just one phrase more.
Only frivolous people view situations that are natural to any undertaking as problematic.
Okay, let's stop here. So today, Joanna de Angelis brings to us a very interesting topic when she talks about frivolous people. She starts by saying, continuously, she's talking about what it means to have an empty life versus a full life. We have already studied the book Empty Lives, and we have all the videos available for those who would like to watch them for the first time or review them. But in this book, she's really focusing on what we have to do and how we have to see things in our lives, face occurrences in our lives, having in mind our spiritual involvement more than our physical life success. And so this is the reason why she starts saying that for us to grow or to present horizontal progress, it's very easy. We just go with the things that we have and the ways that we're doing. We are in a comfortable zone. There are no, or there should not be any criticism, because we are just doing whatever other people is doing, and we have the same kind of thoughts, the same kind of feelings. But the thing here is that we are not in this world just to have or to sediment, so to say, our horizontal growth, our horizontal progress. We are here just to go at least a step further. And a step further in this direction is no longer horizontal, it's not front, back, one side, the other side. It's rising and really utilizing our possibilities. Because when you can tell yourself, I do certain things well, but I'm sure that if I applied a little better, a little more, I could do them much better. That could be cooking, that could be drawing, that could be trying to write a book, to play an instrument, the day-to-day life, right? But then we have this that we say, I have to excel, like I can do better than that. I do not need to conform with what is okay already to the world, because this is not the process. The process here is challenging us, is challenging ourselves, is challenging our intelligence, and also the strength of our spirit. So here is when she's pointing us out to the path of vertical growth, vertical progress. Everyone can act a certain way in certain circumstances, but can you do one better? And here is not a competition. Okay, it's not just for the sake of competing. I do better than you do. No, it's because each thing that we can do better, it brings innovation, it brings fulfillment within ourselves, saying, oh my God, I didn't know that I could excel in this, and look at me, it was just doing tricot, crochet, needle points, whatever. We can do that. But of course, in our case here, we are focusing more about the strength of the spirit. And what does it mean, this strength of the spirit? Like, for instance, it says, when life presents us with difficulties of all sizes, of all manners, we could just conform. We just put ourselves in a victimized position. We could say there's nothing we can do, or we will try to reach for more. Even in the way, it's not because I'm going through that I have to feel miserable or miserable all the time. I can say, listen, it's not good, it's not what I want, but my life is not only defined by that. What about all the rest that I have in life? And truth be told, we may have very difficult challenges before us. But if we consider life as a whole, this very instance, there are many things we should be blessed for. So I don't know if Joanna de Angelis is going to like this or not, but I'm going to make a comparison here. Here is she telling us, life has give you lemons, make a lemonade. And be cheerful, because you are going to be having a refreshing drink, right? It's going to take you from this constant self-pity and whims and all of that will lead you to innovate and to say, okay, this is not good, what can I make to feel good? And this is when she says, when we have responsible people, in this case meaning they're more mature, they already thinking more than just this sphere that we live on, and we many times think that this is all that is, there is nothing else. So she's saying, for those who have already looking for something else, to understand more, to grasp life in its meaningful sense, They are the ones that are going to be facing those challenges and seeing those challenges as part of a process to develop our perception and reality. Look at the so many, technological, medical advancements we had. Are they not here just because we had to face the stress first, the adversity first, the challenge first? So many things that we have, like anesthesia, for instance. Wow, people suffered a lot before anesthesia. Any procedure that they had to go through, it was horrible, a nightmare. Now they have anesthesia, which is a blessing. We have air conditioning, we have heater, we have materials that can cover our body that are much more efficient. I don't need to go hunt anymore for bears and skin them off to wear those bear covers or furs over me, right? I have synthetic materials, I have materials that can be much more efficient, and all of that is because we were challenged. And here she says, only the frivolous people, and this is what she's trying to emphasize here, is going to see everything as a problem. Always going to take a negative side of life. Right. And I guess for starters, it's good. I don't know if you want to comment something or any paragraph here that she mentions that I didn't comment still. Go ahead, Sonia.
See, then the more discernment individuals acquire, the more problems they notice. Their capacity become more lucid and challengers, valuing only what's important, avoiding discouragement and impediment. And this is very interesting because sometimes we have like 10 things, 10 challenges to solve in our life. That is what's really important. Then I should spend my energy to try to solve this. This is very interesting she mentioned about this because all of us have challenges in our daily life. And we spend a lot of time trying to solve other people's challenges and not focus in what is really important to us. What's really relevant to solve today, to put my energy in try to understand and try to behave in the right path, to try to solution this or face this difficult. For example, my health is more important. If I have like an appointment in my doctor, I mean go there instead to leave myself, call someone to try to solve some situation in my daily life. Then it's very interesting because I always suppose, because now I'm 64 years old, this kind of point of view open like a window and make me able to see this kind of things in my life where I really want to put my energy in like 10 challenges. I suppose would be maturity, but how she describe here is more spiritual maturity, spirit development than like a personal.
Yes, sometimes it's easier for us to understand what relates to matter than what relates to the spirit, right? It's even because the comparisons that we have sometimes are not even, let's say, fair, because we tend to compare ourselves to people that are really labeled missionaries, saints, etc. And then you look at them and say, I'm never going to be like them. Yes, we are, with time and with if there is a will, there is a way, right? There will be a way. Of course, it's not going to be overnight. But let's take, for instance, I was just thinking about the New York Marathon and other marathons that we have in the world. I have friends that love to run marathons, even in the Spiritus group of New York. We have our friend that likes to run marathons. Those people that go run a marathon, of course, there are some that goes with the aim of arriving in first place, and they train, their whole lives is only about that. But the majority that goes, they are just racing against themselves. Like, I want to finish the marathon. So some of them will finish in 3 hours. The other one is going to finish in 50 hours. And they cheer and celebrate the same way because it was a challenge to them. It was something that they say, I'm capable of doing that. So if just by doing those physical things, we get so much happiness and fulfillment. Imagine when we are capable of, shutting our mouth when situation otherwise would require us to be very rude, to be polite, okay? So, and other situations that, let me look at me. Am I just complaining lately? And I just, looking at the negativity things that are happening to me? Am I, a nice person to be with? Because sometimes, when you're just saying bad things, complaining about everything, nothing is good enough. Oh, the AC is good, but it only goes to 70 degrees. I always want 65. Okay, my God, can you imagine people in Africa that do not have that? Okay, they will have to suffer 100 and something degrees, and you're complaining because you miss a few degrees that you would like to. So I think this is more what she's trying to say here. Uh, look for the bright side of things, and for your potential as spirit, as an immortal spirit, that it goes much more than just running a marathon or something else, or doing or preparing a dish like never before. It's so much more than that, because at the end of the day, people will like to applaud you for your material achievements, but aren't they going to be much happier to be able to have a good conviviality, a relationship with someone that is nice, that is never complaining, that is always giving a shoulder, that is always saying, come on, you can do it. Let's go, Yes. Right?
Yeah,
So let's go ahead.
It's always a challenge to have like only nice people around, right?
it's a challenge. It sure is, because you always compare yourself, and that's so difficult. You try to do the best you can, but there's always something that says, what am I doing that's wrong? Instead of thinking, you're doing okay, keep going. Don't look at all the negative. There's good possibilities here that you're on the right track. And yes, like you say, we complain so much about what's going on here. And if you look at the side of the world, how much difficulties, human race are going through, the pain, the sorrow, we have no complaints. We have, like you said, Yusara, we have air conditioning, we have comforts of life. What are we complaining so much about? This is a world of expiation. We're going to go through challenges, and we know this. We've gone through this, and we, do the best that we can. But there's always a point in life that you keep saying to yourself, wait a minute. Hi, I didn't do it right. The negative comes in. You fight the negative with the positive. And I try winning with the positive and say, no, 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 I'm doing this right. Wait, this is not going to be this way. Okay, I'm going to do this way. There's all possibilities in life. There's no way that you're going to, you cannot, you cannot win. You could. if you only see, straight with the positive, always think good and not think so much of all the ugly and the negative things that are going on in life. It's very difficult. Life today is, we're going through so much. If it's not out, our own health, our family members, there's so much there, but we have so much that we can fall on to bring us back up and say, no, we're doing just perfectly fine. I'm doing fine. But it's work that has to be done. And we have to do it, inside ourselves, and understand that we say we're not alone. We have all the guides that are there for us. We just have to understand how to work with it and have faith. Without faith, you can't seem to get nowhere. We have to keep trying the best we can.
And you see, it's right. I was thinking, we may complain about a lot of things, and I'm not going to say that we are complaining without a reason.
Right.
And we put everything into perspective. At least we have a voice now. I mean, before, in older times, if you were going to complain about, your mayor, things in your city or your neighborhood, your head would go to be shopping. Right? You were going to be sent to prison indiscriminately. So things are not there yet, but we already have a voice. We already are entitled to have some opinions and about things, and even to participate, because sometimes it's so easy for us to criticize. I deal with criticism almost every day. Okay. There's no way that it's almost not a single day that I don't see criticisms all over, not necessarily towards me, but towards things. And I say, these people would make so much better. It would be so much better if they could say, listen, I don't think this is working, but here are some ideas that could work. And I am going to be the first one to jump in and offer my work voluntarily to help go through this transition. No, people just want to criticize and nothing is good, but they don't go there or let me talk about cakes, okay?
Ay, ay, ay.
Cake is not good today, it's not moist, but do you go to the kitchen to do something about it, to prepare a better cake? No, you just like to criticize. Right? So this is no help at all.
Absolutely.
And what we have to do here, and this is what these frivolous people do. They just throw insults and criticism without even thinking about how much they are hurting others. They are putting the effort at least to make it right. Maybe it's not that right, but at least they're putting the effort. And what are we doing, right? So this is why the challenging here, like she's saying, it's for us to go out there. And I remember I heard once a phrase like it is is the people that are change makers. And we all have to be change makers, okay?
Yes.
Here in the spiritual aspect, we have to be change makers because this is an innovation. There will be more people throwing things at us than not. But are you okay? And at the same time that are you okay with your ideals, are you respecting the level of others as well? Because there is this famous phrase from Lavoisier that my husband just remembered this to me this week. I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend your right to say it till death. So this is it. We have the right to say things. Not everyone is going to be thinking about us. It is up to us. It's up to our conscience. And this is why, going after righteousness, good literature, things that are going to enlighten us, and at least to give us the power to discern, saying, I'm not going to say that this is the best cake that I ate, but it's good enough. Okay, there may be people that can do better than this, as there are others that do not even take the work for starters. But I'm going to appreciate that because I'm going to appreciate the effort. I'm going to appreciate the time, the dedication, everything that was putting into that. And it may not even be my favorite flavor, but it is your right to do it. And so, I think we always have to think about that, and remembering that we are here to really try our best, not to accommodate. Oh no, I'm good enough. I read a book a month. I attend certain things. I go to the hospice to help elderly people once every 3 months. Okay, you may not even like to do this. Find something else that you like to do. Find something else that you can contribute to, and to see and to feel that you are just not moving in the same level, but you are taking an effort, at least out of curiosity, to see what is the next level preparing for me. I see the young people playing video game, okay? They're never happy with the level that they are. They're trying to jump and do whatever they can to go to the next level because they want to see what other challenges are going to be brought in the next level. When once they're there, it's the same thing. It's the drive. Okay, this is the drive that we have to move forward. Okay, so let's read a little more. Can you see now, Philip?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Once individuals are willing to pursue more challenging achievements, they grow and go to the heart of difficulties, which then become an integral part of the projects that await implementation. Mindless individuals, however, always say that good people suffer more than bad people, a superficial observation that tries to justify their own inertia and ineptitude for edifying action. The apparent shiny veneer of things is also greatly confused with their true reality. They draw attention, but lack the qualities they purport to have. Success cannot always be measured by appearances, by what counts as a victory, but debases the heart. Continue?
Yes, let me just put
It is said that human beings are happy when nothing holds them back, impeding their progress, which is not an absolute truth. Having nothing could also translate into a lack of motivation to acquire blessed higher values, bearers of joy and peace. All inner transformative achievements take place in silence, amid structures of moral or spiritual qualifications, as they provide the overcoming of the primitive passions that insist on prevailing in the process of self-illumination. This situation is normally accompanied by vile behaviors. An ongoing conspiracy seems to be rising against a blessed state of things. As they struggle to adapt and accept themselves, producing a moral transformation, individuals are met with scorn and derision. Through ridicule, mockers believe to be defeating the rigid rules of conduct that produce happiness-based well-being. Thus, never respond to deceivers who point out errors and mistakes in issues that would free them from sickly habits. Idealists and conquerors, all those who prepared society to become cultured and civilized, have always been persecuted. Pushback is natural. It is the reaction of the opposition, always on duty, everywhere. All heroes and martyrs have drunk from the bitter cup of ignorance, but soon thereafter were raised to the glory they deserve, and presently enjoy the blessed blessings bestowed upon them by the divine mercy. If there's more, I can't see it.
Yes, that is okay. You see, this is what we were start commenting. It's very easy for us to continue on our comfort zone, even if we can agree that, okay, I'm in my comfort zone, but it doesn't mean that I'm happy or that I feel happy or that I wouldn't like anything else to be happening. But sometimes we are too afraid to risk. And we just go towards certainty, and none of the change makers had certainty, because those were things that were done for the first time. And here, what is even deeper and more difficult is that because there is an invitation for our inner transformation. So, and in order for me to do that, I have to accept that there is something that is not right. Why do I need to transform, to change? If everything is good, I don't need to change anything. So I have to deal with my own feelings of recognizing that there are issues that I should address, that I should be addressing, and things that I will have to recognize that I do not do well, or that I could do better, or that I'm not putting that much effort, you see? And so it's always easy to say, oh, those people, they can do that because they came from a different background. They have different circumstances in life. So we keep on finding excuses when we do not say they're crazy, just wait for things and they will not be able to do this or that. Or, there are always people, misery loves company. So I don't like to see progress in others or to acknowledge progress in others, because if I do that, it means that I have to do something about me. And you see how controversial this is. And so what is the easiest situation is to say they don't know what they're doing, they're silly people, soon enough life will hit them and they will change their ways, they will not be as spiritual as they are now. And look, like Emmanuel has a whole message. I just gave a talk, actually in English, I think recently as well, about the logic of providence that is in the book Our Daily Bread, lesson number 60, where Emmanuel comments on saying that many people use the excuses that they only see good people suffering. And people that are religious or spiritual, it seems that they suffer even more. So God forbid I'll go through this path. I don't want suffering. And you see, but like Emmanuel explained so beautifully, this is depicts the goodness of God, because they know that they are so frivolous, so fragile, that if they had to endure the same challenges that people that are more mature are, they would simply break. They could not do that. That has to be gradually. So what can we do? Can we change them? No. We can become examples, because even when they make believe that they are not seeing our behaviors, they are. They are seeing that you went to that, Thanksgiving dinner. And one of the members was really impossible. And you were the only one that did not engage to make things worse. They will pay attention to that, although they may not ever acknowledge that. But they are paying attention. And as soon as you act otherwise and start engaging, they will say, hey, are you not a spiritist? Should you not be bringing peace to this conversation instead of more aggravation. So they know, they are paying attention. So this is what we have to do. You see, you have your ideals, I have mine. I respect yours, respect mine. And I'm not even going to go where Joanna de Angelis went here. We are still not heroes or martyrs, okay? But we are already drinking from the bitter cup of ignorance. And there is no way we can engage with that. Remember Jesus' life. When was the time that Jesus spent his time trying to convince others and Pharisees that his way was the right way? Even to the point when he was about to be crucified, he was taken before Herod's, and he didn't say a word in his defense because, well, between us, Jesus perhaps was thinking, why am I going to try to bring sense to a mule? Sorry, Jesus. My own words and thoughts, not yours, evidently. But right, this is it. I mean, and if we engage, what does it say about us? That we are more to mules than to other things, right? Because it's an unfair kind of situation. So for now, what do we have to do? What is the invitation here? We all are and were even more frivolous than we are today. But the goal is one. No more horizontal lines. I want to adventures. I want to see more, to risk more, to go. But this is not a risk. You see, I'm using the word risk, but it's not a risk because we are moving towards God. So the risk is to stay where we are or even going below. Comments, questions? Yes, Sonia?
This is a truly real challenger for me. Then how much effort I can put when I share all this knowledge with others, try to spread the seeds, and how much I should be quiet to preserve myself, to continue in all these challenges and good path. Then it's something to time keep my mind in evolution. Then every time when I leave the situation with the others, as you mentioned in Thanksgiving situation, then because in my idea, I really would like to share all these nice lessons we are learning every day. But during the meeting, when someone is so resistant to keep this idea, then, and of course, immediately disappoint me because they cannot understand. And I and oh, this point is to be quiet, but every time is difficult for me this kind of measuring when I really need to share with them and when I need to keep myself in this way alone.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what is the question of the Spirit's book. I don't remember quite well. which, the number of the question, but there is one question that it's, why it seems that evil is still, going ahead in those world. And the answer is that goodness is still shy. So this means that we are not asked and should not be silent, but we should understand and know the ability of our listeners to understand what we are saying. So you can go easily, you say, present the idea and learn how to read a room. I do that to every gathering that I go. I find a way to say that I'm a spiritist, I'm a spiritual person, and then I just keep quiet, because if there is anyone, or I'm engaging in spiritist group, centers, movement, etc. And sometimes, believe me or not, people do not reply at all. It seems that I really make them uncomfortable just by mentioning it. So I just keep quiet, like I'm saying, I'm introducing myself. And one of the things that are more important in my life, or more important that I do, is that I'm engaged in pro bono, in beneficent work, and in spiritual work. And I really feel surprised sometimes how little attention people pay to that, but not always. And most of the time is if you are in a bigger audience, because if you are in the smaller audience, at least out of curiosity, they will ask, what is this? I never heard about it. Okay, so I think this is the case. We cannot be shy, we cannot hide, because otherwise you just see really bad things happening, because oh my God, fake news are everywhere, right? And people do believe completely in fake news. They know, they call it's fake news, but I believe. I mean, no sense at all, right? But so I always go like that, Sonia. I always go like, mentioning something that let's say that one of the phrases by Jesus, teachings by Jesus, would be interesting to be mentioned in a situation, right? But because I know that people would not prefer to hear the word Jesus, I will go by saying, well, there is this quote, or there is this saying that, and then I say what Jesus says without mentioning Jesus, because just by saying Jesus, wow, here she comes again, patronizing us, preaching to us. And so just by going like that, and so I think is the best course of direction. By understand, it is not so easy for us to know this measure, but to be completely silenced only if there is too much. You read the room, no one here is capable of understanding things at this moment. And then, like Jesus said, and here I can say, like Jesus said, do not throw pearls to pigs.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are times that you may do that, but there are other times that whatever you say is just going to aggravate and backfire.
Yusara, you're absolutely right. It's unbelievable what you're saying, that the best way to understand a person that's very hard-headed and doesn't understand is to pay no attention to them, right? But in reality, you are, because when you keep quiet, the person starts thinking, and it makes them think that something more is going on. And sometimes they get curious, sometimes they don't. Like you just said, goodness is still shy. Isn't that a beautiful phrase? We still do not want to learn or stubborn or whatever you want to call it. We do not want to understand the right way of thinking, but it is what you say, leave it and pay no attention. And I think, but you have to be you have to be very strong to do that. If someone is aggravating and saying things, most of the time people will say something, but I think a person who's very intellectual and understand keeps quiet, and quietness will probably provoke that person's mind to think and say, why is she not saying more? And she just kept quiet. But it's a way to kind of teach them, and it'll come through because silence is golden. So I think it's the best way to do that. But sometimes it's very difficult. You have to be you have to be very understanding and spiritually patient and understand all the things that we should know at this time. But
I think one of the things you're pointing out is that those who understand are not willing to go through the machinations and the arguments with people who act at the very least ignorant.
yeah, that's what it is. It is. You're right. Absolutely.
And see, when you feel that you cannot say anything, that things are at a very bad point, what you should be doing is protecting yourself.
Mhm.
You remove yourself, your emotions, to be also engaged with the vibe that is going into the room. So you start praying for yourself, to shield yourself, and to and that your shield of good energy can little by little penetrate others, to the point of one by one is going to show more calmness, and if being silenced. And if this does not happen, just excuse yourself from the room for a minute. I need water, I need to go to the bathroom, whatever. Just remove yourselves from that energy, because we are still very fragile and very inferior, and it's not that difficult for us to get engaged in those mental egregoras of negativity, you see. So sometimes, even to preserve ourselves, say, I cannot add anything here, but at least I need to preserve myself. And you will find ways of doing that, either by I remember yesterday I had to go through this epidural, and I was lucky enough that my wonderful doctor, that I really love him, was in a day that he was teaching a student. So what should have been 2 or 3 needles in my back wind up being a dozen.
Ooh.
Because it was never in the right place, and I couldn't complain. I couldn't say anything. I know that they have to teach students, but why me, God? Okay. So you know what I did? I said, and each time I was getting more tense, and my body was becoming too tense, and the adrenaline. And so you know what? I started singing
It's a
religious
good one.
song and asking for Mother Mary and whatever.
Oh God. Oh God.
Of course, in a very low voice, but I had to disconnect from that. That had nothing, and I couldn't be the person that would say, "Come on, guys, give it to the doctor already." You see, I mean, there was a situation. I could not run from the table and say, when you know what you're doing, call me back. Thank God, at the end, everything worked out okay, but I wound up having at least 9 injections, needle. going in that it should be going. Because it had to be in the right place in my spine. Can you imagine that? And they were following with the ultrasound and all that, still not there. Change needles, a more profound one that bends more. And I was there, like listening to all. Said, "No, my God, I have to remove myself from this situation." And this is what I did. In my mind, I start singing. I have to tell you, it did work.
Did you feel better after all the injections?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite sore still today, but
Jeez.
but that's okay. And
Important
yeah,
the results.
I mean,
The
the
cure.
result you only know in
Yeah, yeah.
about a week, 10 days. It takes for me to know the result. But but it
Yeah.
was something, and I said, "Oh my God, what can I do in this situation?" Only
Hey,
pray, only taking my mind out of it.
Yasara, when they take blood out of me, I cringe. I can't imagine what you go through. I cannot. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It
No,
is.
it was something else. I mean, last time, I don't know why things are not never that simple with me, but even the doctor doing that last time, he had to pinch me three,
Uh,
4 times, uh,
uh,
uh, but not a dozen. To the point that I had to have another shot of anesthetic because it was taking so long. A procedure that normally takes 10 minutes, it was 40 minutes.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And I had to leave there with a smile saying thank you so much. And I did. And I praised all them. And,
So you know one thing,
uh-huh.
that you are on a path that requires you to evolve.
yeah.
That's why you're going through this.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I came to the point where it's now or never, Philip. So either you take it or take it. So I'm preferring to go with a smile, to live with a thank you so much. You're all being so delicate. I know they were trying to do their best. They couldn't, but they tried. And that's it. And now I'm at a point where I don't know if we finish this. Maybe I would say let's read it if there is much more to comment, okay? Because you're coming to the end of our meeting.
Where are we starting?
It is normally
Oh,
believed.
okay. It is normally believed that silence gives consent and implies submission, disadvantages, and loss. The law, if progress, however, hands them the crown of victory for the battles they fought while they were on the earth. So, rejoice whenever you are slandered, persecuted, and mocked. Do your best without bitterness. Save your strength to do the job that was assigned to you. The frivolous are sitting idle, looking for victims of their unfortunate schemes. They are superficial and very easily change their conviction and behavior because their personality is volatile. Their opinions are capricious and lack meaningful content. While they enjoy a quick round of applause, those they defame ascend to God and achieve victory over themselves. The time will come when they will wake up to the reality that they now deny and will purify themselves in the flames of repentance and redemptive trials. The lack of good sense, maturity, and moral fiber allows individuals to be recognized by their weaknesses, their weakness of character, and therefore irresponsibility and the cultivation of idleness. There are many frivolous and sharp-looking individuals in our society at the service of anarchy and the destruction of ethical values.
You see, I'm writing this paragraph at the time will come and they will wake up to the reality that they now deny and will purify themselves in the flames of repentance and redemptive trials. I've been constantly thinking about, oh my God, why didn't I do that first? Before, I lost so much time. And yeah, we have been wasting time. But now we know better. It's only justified that we at least try to do better. And this is what Allan Kardec says in the Gospel according to Spiritism, where it's this one I think I remember it, chapter 17, where they say this: spiritists are known by the efforts they are making in order to avoid, to prevent their negative influences, their negative inclinations. So it's not that we are there yet, but we are putting an effort to become better. It takes time, it takes effort, resilience, persistence. There will be people that constantly will come and say, see, you try to do, you cannot. And it's very easy to put us down, to dismay us, to say, well, maybe they are right. No, they are not right. God is right. And God says that we are here to be perfected spirits. And this is our only fate. It's fate. Whether we want it or not is going to happen. The thing is, if you contribute to that, it's going to happen faster. And what you are going to find out that the faster it happens, the better you will feel about yourselves, even if it doesn't mean happiness in the sense that we understand. It means many times, if I'm receiving these challenges now, it is because I can deal with that. That's why Joanna de Angelis says, pain is a blessing that God only gives to his elected, to the ones that are already capable of enduring them. And pains in this sense means I accept being a change maker. I accept being a person that is going to incarnate and not valued, but by what I do, by my beliefs, even by my way of being. But time will come and will tell which one was right. And I mean, it's not a matter of, this, oh, I will prove later that I'm right. Let's not think like, this frivolous people think, but in the sense that we all will have to go through this journey. Jesus is the path, the truth, and the way. There is no other way. So for us, the best course of action is stop being so stubborn and just go and do what you have to do. Don't procrastinate any longer. We've been procrastinating for too long already, and it is not in our best interest. And I think that for what we have achieved in this lifetime already, for the time sorry, that we have been dedicating to this inner transformation, we can see. I will say for myself, okay, and please follow me if you feel the same way. I look in the mirror and I feel proud of the accomplishments that I have been accomplishing. I know there's a lot to do, but I'm doing it and I'm capable of doing. And when I look back 30 years back from now, I'm a different person. I'm a better person, and I feel happier and in harmony and worthy. And I'm sure you all that must be going through the same things. Again, we're not there yet. There's a lot to go, but I will praise myself. I will hit me in the back and say, good job. Keep up the good work.
And you
Thank
deserve.
you very much.
Do you agree with
Yeah.
your takes?
Many times, Jusana.
Great, great, great.
You are an inspiration to us, and you have the right to feel that way. You deserve it. You're a good, beautiful person, and God put you here for a reason. He's just talking to us right now and leading us to where where we can strive and say one day, just like you're saying, I'm a good person. So you should be proud, Jusana.
But you
Thank
see, from outside, this is what I see from you as well.
And you are doing very, very well.
Yes, 1,000 times.
Thank you to share with us.
But you
leave
guys are doing great, 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 great. And I can see that. Well, let's
Okay.
stop